In Counter-Strike, you'll often hear people refer to a God flash, but what does that mean exactly? If I'm going to give a flash that type of a name, I want it to do one of two things. And the first is simply blind every single angle that has line of sight onto a choke point that my teammates are trying to push through. And the second is it's not going to blind my teammates at all while blinding the majority of positions around the site. Inferno has the most famous example of the first type, and it's been around since CSGO. But in this video, I also want to show off all the different pieces of utility you can put around those flashes to truly make it a God flash. But before we get into all of that, I want to thank today's sponsor, SkinsMonkey. For those of you that don't know, SkinsMonkey is an automated CS2 trading site that allows you to select the old skins you don't want anymore and pick out some new ones from the monkey. It's a great way to freshen up that old dusty inventory, and hey, that's not all. They have some amazing filter and selection features, as well as 24/7 live support. If you click the link in the description, you can get a free $5 and a 30% deposit bonus that becomes 35% if you use my code TACTICS on the site. Don't miss out on this offer and check out SkinsMonkey today. Let's get back into the video. So let's get started with Overpass. If you go alongside the divider here and do a simple jump throw at the top right of this square, that's going to blind every single relevant position on site without blinding your teammates at all. This is seriously going to cook almost every position except for this corner right here. It's only going to half white them. That's why you see teams like M80 going into this position and doing a crouching jump throw at the divider to completely burn out that close truck corner. Notice how ZywOo's going to get roasted out of here. He's going to run right into two M80 players for a very, very easy opening pick, which is going to lead to the site take. Now for Inferno, as you probably saw in the intro clip, you're just going to go right here into this corner and do a simple jump throw on the top left of this barrel. That's going to fly up here and it's going to blind pretty much, again, every single relevant position on the site without much time to react at all. The only angles you're not going to be able to blind for people up here on boost, or if they're back behind this pillar where the fountain is going to end up blocking it. So naturally that means we're going to have to deal with these two positions when it comes to utility. So what I'd recommend doing is smoking off boost, and the easiest way in my opinion is going right here into the middle of this gas line, standing up and just aiming at the corner of this building. You're going to aim just a little bit to the left of it and do a simple left click throw. This is a super loose and forgiving lineup, and guess what? It's going to completely smoke off all of boost where that angle is completely denied. And of course, while that lineup's flying, you still have plenty of time to get set up to throw the flash, so really any boost smoke that you know is going to work just fine for this situation because you can get set up while it's flying. Now, of course, we have boost completely smoked off. Our God flash is blinding every position but back here, so let's talk about a nice Molotov to take care of pillars. So, generally, the best way to do that is to get into this corner right here, and you're going to go from this bottom bar over to the dot right here, and you're going to do a simple jump throw. This is going to go all the way up, and not only is it going to completely burn out anyone inside of dark, but it's going to take care of this entire pillar position, bringing people back to where that flash is going to completely roast them. So it takes care of both boost with the smoke and pillar with the Molotov. Now finally, one thing I'd like to pair up with that is a team-safe layered flash. So after you throw the God flash, generally your teammates are going to be peeking onto site afterwards. So if you throw two back-to-back, they're probably going to get roasted by the second one. So instead of throwing the same flash, you can just aim at this lighter spot and do a W jump throw. That is not going to blind any of your teammates at all because it's landing on the inside of this balcony, but it's still catching a lot of the common positions on site. There are a couple of spots that it's not getting, like Coffin or the right side of Nuke box, but throwing this to help out in the fight, especially if someone comes out to try to peek and fight after that initial flash, maybe they were playing anti, they may get caught by the second and your teammates are not going to get blinded, so it's definitely worth throwing. Now, of course, there's a way to throw all of this from one single position because that's what this channel is all about. So if you get boosted up into this corner, you've already seen we can throw the dark molly from here. But on top of that, we can also smoke boost by aiming into this little angle right here along this awning. Again, just a basic left and right click jump throw. That thing's going to be bouncing right off the side and smoking off boost just as we would hope. And again, from that same exact position, you can then, of course, molly off dark, and now you have a couple of flashes you can throw. You can throw the regular God flash by finding this dark spot right here on this sign, and guess what? That's going to land pretty much the exact same as the regular God flash. It's going to catch almost all of those positions, and you can also throw a team-safe flash off the back of that by going from the top left of this ladder up to right here on the scaffolding. This is going to land behind the fountain from the perspective of your teammates, and it's going to catch a ton of angles back here behind it. This is a really good layered one as well, so whatever you prefer, go right ahead and throw it, but if you're a solo queue and player, I would recommend learning that full set. On Mirage, the most obvious God flash is this one right here. You're going to line up with the pillar, aim at the bottom of the window, and do a run jump throw before you hit it. That's going to go super high, I realize, but believe it or not, it's going to have a devastating effect on the vast majority of high danger positions watching that initial choke point. Alright, so let's talk a little bit about the blind spots. If someone's playing in market, obviously they're not getting blinded. They can hold this window, or they could hold the dropout. So I would definitely recommend pairing up a smoke with this flash. So one of the easiest ways to do that is to go into this corner, and you can do a simple jump throw right here. I like to go a little bit below this chip in the wall, though, because it's going to go deeper into the window. It doesn't have that big of a difference, but that's just kind of how I like to throw it. Notice how much deeper into window this is going to go, and sometimes it won't bloom out as far. In this case, it did, so not that big of a difference. Either way, this is the smoke that I like to pair up with this flash most often. However, there are still a couple more blind spots, and I'll go ahead and show you. After this is thrown, guess what? If someone's holding maybe like this, they're not really getting blinded by this. They're maybe getting half whited through that tarp, but overall, anywhere on this right arch, they're just not getting blinded. So what you could do to deal with this, if you're very extreme, you could go 2015 meta and just smoke off left and right arches. And this is something I haven't done in a very long time, but I don't think it's completely out of place to try doing this. You could go right here into the middle of this shutter, crouch down, aim at this corner, stand up, and do a simple left click throw. And guess what? That is going to end up landing right here in the dead center of the left arch. You're going to have it completely smoked off. This one takes the longest, so I'd recommend throwing it first. And now for the second smoke in this set, you're going to get stuck into this corner right here. There's actually a hard corner you can get stuck into. You're going to aim just out to the right of this dark spot on the lamp and do a simple jump throw. And guess what? This one's going to end up landing in the dead center of the right arch. So you're going to have both left and right completely smoked out. And again, I know this is a little bit out of meta. This is some old school Counter-Strike smoking right here. But I do think there's still a place, even in 2025, where you could pair up maybe another smoke here for window, maybe a molly back here on empty, or something to cut off the rotates. And I really do think this could be a good part of a decent execute if you get creative. Now, Ancient has my favorite team-safe God Flash in the game. If you go right alongside this X and aim in the dead center of this large square and do a simple jump throw, well, that's going to full blind pretty much every single angle on site that's going to be watching that close choke point. And hey, that pillar means your teammates are not getting blinded. However, anyone deep on this angle towards short isn't getting blinded, and anyone deep on this angle towards long also is not getting blinded. So that means there's a little bit of extra utility we can add in to make this even better. From that same X, you can do a simple left click throw at the top left of this fern for a nice short smoke. And then from that exact same position, you can do a jump throw to the right of the 7 for a long smoke. And just like that, you have both of those longer angles completely dealt with, even if it does bonk somebody on the head. Now, for a molly, you can do a simple left click throw in this gap here in the fern, and guess what? The back of sight is completely mollied off. You're cutting off that cave rotation, and all of that together is going to make it very difficult for anyone to be fighting on site. Of course, this dark area here isn't getting blinded all too well from that first flash, so I would recommend changing things up just a little bit and throwing an additional flash out to the right. For example, right here at this strap, if you do a jump throw, it's not going to blind your teammates, and it's going to catch anyone here, and at the very least, make them turn. Now, of course, for train, I'd recommend going into this green sign, aiming just to the top side of this electrical box, and doing a simple jump throw. That's going to full blind pretty much every single relevant position you could think of on the A side, especially the close ones towards that T-con entrance. Now, obviously, this flash is fantastic if you're peeking any of the close angles here as you're making your way out. However, if you're worried about someone towards Ivy or maybe towards camera, notice how this flash doesn't scratch them at all. So I'd still recommend throwing the old school sandwich smoke in order to get out here. So the easiest way to do that is to go on the left side of this corner and just do a simple left click throw in between the crane and this wire. So just somewhere out here, very loose lineup, don't put too much thought into it, and guess what? You're going to be smoking off sandwich, no problem at all. So that way, anyone back here on Ivy is not going to be able to see anything as you're coming out of T-con, and same with anyone on camera. There's really no line of sight whatsoever, so those flashes are going to blind everyone up close in front of the smoke, or even anyone over here taking this fight. They're also going to get blinded by this, so it's a great way to get out and take this control behind red. And hey, that just about wraps up everything I wanted to talk about in this video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you'd like to see from me next down in the comments below, and I do want to thank all of my amazing channel members on screen right now. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see all of you in the next one.